What if everything you thought you knew about who investigates America's UFO reports was only part of the story? Because the man reportedly chosen to lead the Pentagon's official search for unidentified flying objects wasn't found in a classified research lab. He was found on cable television, chasing ghosts on a Utah ranch and speculating about ancient aliens for the History Channel. Historical records and government confirmation reveal a far stranger, more complicated reality than the version most people have heard. This is the story of Dr. Travis Taylor. On the surface, it sounds like the premise of a science fiction novel fitting, since the man at the center of this story has written more than 20 of them. A defense scientist with genuine, verifiable academic credentials, a television personality known for dramatic reactions to unexplained phenomena, and, according to Pentagon officials, a key figure, informally known as the chief scientist, behind one of the most consequential UFO investigations in modern American history. This isn't speculation. It's a documented collision between government science and popular entertainment, and it raises a question that historians of science, journalists, and skeptics are still debating today. Where is the line between credentialed expertise and showmanship? And what happens when a nation's most secretive investigations depend on someone who lives in both worlds? To understand how this happened, we have to go back decades to a career built quietly long before television cameras arrived. According to his official biography with the History Channel, Travis Taylor spent the better part of 25 years working on advanced technology programs for the United States Department of Defense and NASA. His academic record, verified through multiple independent sources, including an on-camera interview with Las Vegas investigative reporter George Knapp, includes doctorates in optical science and engineering and in aerospace systems engineering, along with master's degrees in physics, astronomy, and mechanical and aerospace engineering. He worked for years within the U.S. Army Space and Missile Defense Command. He held active security clearances for decades. He co-authored technical papers and academic textbooks on subjects ranging from directed energy weapons to spacecraft propulsion. By any conventional measure, this was a serious, credentialed career in defense science, the kind that rarely makes headlines. Then came television. Let's trace how a defense engineer became a household name in the world of unexplained phenomena. Taylor's television career began with Rocket City Rednecks, a National Geographic Channel series where he applied hard engineering principles to backyard-style experiments. From there, he became a recurring presence on Ancient Aliens, a History Channel series built around speculative and widely disputed theories that extraterrestrials influenced ancient human civilizations. It's important to state clearly, mainstream archaeology and history do not support these theories. They remain firmly in the category of speculation, not verified history. In 2021, Taylor joined The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, a series investigating reported paranormal and unexplained activity at a Utah ranch. According to Taylor's own account, given to reporter George Knapp, it was his work at this ranch that set off a chain of events few could have predicted. Taylor has stated that in early 2019, he became concerned that activity at the ranch might intersect with genuine national security issues. He requested a meeting with Pentagon officials to brief them. It was during that meeting, he says, that Jay Stratton, then director of the Department of Defense's Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, invited him to join the effort. That task force would go on to help produce the U.S. government's landmark 2021 report on unidentified aerial phenomena submitted to Congress via the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The report itself was famously light on detail. But what came next in mid-2022 was arguably more startling than the report itself. A handful of names are essential to this story. Dr. Travis Taylor, the aerospace engineer and optical physicist at the center of it all, whose dual identity as both defense scientist and reality TV figure sparked the controversy. Jay Stratton, the former director of the Pentagon's UAP task force, who, according to Taylor, personally invited him to serve in a leading scientific role. Susan Goff, the Pentagon spokesperson, who, when contacted by journalists, confirmed that Taylor had indeed served in a lead capacity, though she clarified his title was used informally, and the position was never a formal, full-time appointment. Seth Shostak, an astronomer with the SETI Institute, who publicly voiced skepticism about a reality TV personality holding influence over a serious government investigation. Robert Schieffer, a longtime UFO skeptic and author, whose blog post questioning the task force's credibility spread widely among the scientific community. Each of these figures represents a different side of the same tension: credentials versus credibility, government secrecy versus public accountability. Let's separate what is confirmed from what remains contested. Confirmed and verified. Travis Taylor did serve in a leading role with the Pentagon's UAP task force. This was confirmed directly by a Department of Defense spokesperson to Science Magazine's news division in 2022. His academic credentials, multiple advanced degrees in physics, optics, and aerospace engineering, have been independently verified through interviews and official biographies. His decades-long defense career, including his time with the U.S. Army Space and Missile Defense Command, is a matter of public record, contested or unverified. Taylor's personal claims, made in television appearances, that he has seen more UFOs than I can count, and that supernatural entities from Skinwalker Ranch followed him home and interfered with his car and household appliances, are his own personal accounts. They have not been independently verified, and mainstream scientists have publicly expressed skepticism about them. This distinction matters enormously. A person can hold real, verifiable scientific credentials while also making claims that fall outside the bounds of what science can currently test or confirm. The defining turning point in this story wasn't a discovery at all. It was a disclosure. When it became public that a reality television personality known for chasing poltergeists on a ranch in Utah had also served as an informal chief scientist for one of the U.S. government's most closely watched investigations, the story ignited immediate debate. Critics within the scientific community argued that Taylor's television persona, built on dramatic reactions and paranormal claims, undermined public confidence in the seriousness of the government's UAP research. Some, like Shostak, suggested it explained why the task force's public findings were, in his words, so inconclusive. Others pushed back, noting that Taylor's academic and professional credentials were entirely genuine, and that dismissing him purely because of his television work risked conflating showmanship with a lack of scientific rigor, two things that aren't necessarily the same. This tension between public entertainment and government science became the defining turning point of the story, and it remains unresolved. The impact of this episode extends beyond one man's career. It became a case study in how modern government transparency intersects with modern media. The Pentagon's UAP task force was created in part to bring scientific rigor and credibility to a subject long dismissed as fringe. Yet the revelation of Taylor's dual role complicated that mission, feeding both public fascination and public skepticism in equal measure. It also highlighted a growing trend across contemporary science communication. Figures with legitimate academic backgrounds increasingly operate simultaneously in entertainment media, where commercial incentives reward dramatic storytelling over cautious, peer-reviewed conclusions. So what does this story ultimately teach us? First, that credentials and credibility, while related, are not identical. A person can hold multiple advanced degrees and decades of legitimate government service and still make claims that responsible science cannot verify. Second, that the blending of entertainment and official government investigation creates real challenges for public trust. Audiences are often left uncertain where documented fact ends and speculative entertainment begins. And finally, this story is a reminder that historical and scientific literacy requires exactly the kind of careful separation this documentary has tried to model throughout, identifying what is confirmed, what is claimed, and what remains genuinely unknown. Dr. Travis Taylor's story isn't really about aliens or ghosts or government secrets. It's about the blurred line between two worlds that most of us assume are separate: rigorous, credentialed science and the entertainment industry that increasingly shapes how the public encounters it. Whatever you believe about UFOs, ranches in Utah, or ancient astronauts, one fact remains beyond dispute. For a brief moment, America's most secretive UFO investigation and its most theatrical television programming were led quite literally by the very same man. And that is a stranger reality than fiction could have written.